Ashank, just wanted to know, the street is pretty divided whether growth is going to get impacted by inflation and slow down or not. What can you tell us about the demand momentum on ground and whether client budgets are getting a little bit cut or not?
So we have been talking to our clients all over, and the feel that we get is there is no change in budget as we see today. In fact, they want us to expedite the work that we are doing and complete the projects in time, faster, and so on. So from our immediate inputs that we are getting, there is nothing that we are hearing about slowdown.
Right. Your FY22 growth was at 26%. What about FY23? Is that going to be higher or lower? And are you debunking the street concerns on growth?
So we do not give any guidance on our growth rates. We have been guiding generally to the state, saying that we have been growing faster than the industry over the last quite a few years, and we will continue that growth above the industry rate. So that is the kind of rate we are committed to, and we have not changed any of that.
Good morning, Nantara joining in the conversation. So I just want to take forward that point. When you're saying that you're not hearing about a slowdown, are you actually debunking the street's concerns as far as growth goes? And what we've seen is a bit, muted in the fourth quarter across the IT pack.
I do not know the street concerns, honestly, but as I said, as of now, we in the industry have not heard any slowdown and impact of that, more importantly, on the IT budgets. See, you must remember, IT budgets are getting more and more aggressive because of competition, A, which is there all over globally. B, the digital technologies have converged into so many different aspects that if you do not use them and make yourself more efficient, more competitive, more acceptable to the customer, you have a problem in terms of demand, your demand. So those dimensions have not changed as of now. So the point is, if that is not changed, you will not hear anything on the IT budget, at least till now.
Mishra from Gartner also joins us. Naveen, thank you for joining us. There is a view in the market that IT sector will be in a very different environment in the second half of this year, which is US will slow down and they will see a marked slowdown in the optimism what they've shared with us. What is your understanding? Are we likely to see a impact and a meaningful impact of US slowdown? Because Naveen, US is slowing down, and historically when US has slowed down, it has had an impact on IT demand.
Good morning and thanks for having me here. When we look at our CIO conversations, we don't see signs of any slowdown. Let me share some fact base with you. As per our latest IT forecast, we anticipate the market to grow in the range of about 6% over the next couple of years, 2022 as well as 2023. However, I agree that there are tensions around geopolitical, inflation, few other macroeconomic issues are there. But when we look at the CIO budgets, the demand scenario, they don't seem to be declining. Rather, they are continuing to grow, and hence, we don't believe that there is going to be any deceleration in the overall growth of IT services, even if we see some early indicators of slowdown, which are more macro driven. We don't see substantial impact of those macroeconomic factors on IT spend and IT budgets, especially from a lot of customer conversations that we are having.
Okay, and taking forward a little more, because we've also been discussing here in ET now that will IT end the year as the outperformer? Now, what we've also seen is the drop in margins. You've touched a little bit about attrition. Supply chain constraints have also impacted business in the fourth quarter. The question I want to now ask you is that do you think the bad news like attrition, etc., has peaked out, so therefore margins should only improve going forward?
Talent shortage is a global issue. Every service provider is being impacted, and that gets further compounded by the Ukraine-Russia situation, because almost this limits an access of 250,000 IT developers who are operating in that area. So with that said, the talent war is going to continue today. Now, is this going to end in second half of 2022? That's unlikely, because we see a lot more pressures coming in on the talent. The attritions are pretty high for some of the large service providers that you see. So the talent war, the talent issues are going to remain, and hence the margin pressure because of that, I don't think that's going to subside in second half of 2022. What I can say is that a lot of IT providers are trying to create internal mechanism to improve that, but there is a long gap in the supply and the demand of talent.
Okay, Ashank, if I could, just get you in here. You've talked about what the near term is going to spell out like, but tell me about the medium term, say for FY24, 25. How is it that you see growth panning out, and what factors are going to impact it?
See, FY24-25 as of now looks good, but any prediction on that would really depend on the economy globally and few other things. So as of now, none of our customers per se will give you any inputs on that. We can only conclude based on what has happened over the last 2 years in terms of slowdown in the spend which happened in 2021. We have seen how digital is growing so fast today that it is very difficult to catch up unless you change your speed yourself. So if you look at all of those things and certain things which are happening even in the base economy. See, base economy is getting digital. That is a larger trend. Digital technologies, of course, is a foundation to make that happen. Without that, it would not have happened. However, everything is getting digital. So economy digitization is still not complete. If you look at cloud, for example, the percentage of people who are on cloud and number of applications which are on cloud is still very small comparative to what actually exists in the economy, whether it is US, UK, or Europe or anywhere else. So that transformation journey is not yet complete. It is far from being complete. And if they have to complete it, it is not going to over in 1 year. That is for sure. That journey is 3-year, 4-year, 5-year journey. Now, that journey speed sometimes may get slowed down a little bit here and there because of some budget constraints, depending on the economy in that country. Possibility exists. I am not denying that. However, journey has to be completed. You cannot remain outside the cloud now with the kind of omnipresence of the cloud. You cannot remain outside digital technologies, whether they are AI, ML, IoT, metaverse. I can give many names. You cannot remain outside it for a long time. So that is given. The demand exists, potential exists. It will pan out year after year, depending on certain constraints that customers may have. I'm not denying that.
So are there any specific demand trends that you're witnessing geography-wise? You were looking at penetrating, deeper in the US, etc. But with recession fears and high inflation, is that something that you're watching closely, or any changes for that matter on that front?
No, so recession is various issues have been talked. Obviously, I'm not an expert. I have heard that recession may happen in the calendar year 23 or second half of 23, so on and so forth. There have been a mixed views on any of these, as you know. So it's very difficult to make any predictions based on that. However, we have to be watching it. It is not that we have to be completely ignoring any of these. We have to look at it. Based on that, we have to talk to our customers, which we continuously do. At any point of time, hundreds of our salespeople are in touch with customers. So fortunately, inputs come to us as soon as they are apparent.
Okay, I'd love to get Gartner's views on this one, and that is the excitement and the exuberance and the valuation froth, if you want to call it that, we've seen in the mid-tier IT companies. At one time, their valuations were far more than the tier one. When we see that delta maybe close a little bit, what is Gartner's views? Because the fact is, while the share prices have also run up, the tier two companies have also delivered with, a 16% year-on-year growth in dollar terms as far as the revenues goes. As for the tier one companies, I beg your pardon, and tier two companies outpacing with a 4% quarter-on-quarter growth and a 27% year-on-year growth for the year that's gone by. So so they have outperformed when it comes to the revenue part, but does it justify the share price?
Well, Gartner's expertise doesn't lie in predicting the share prices, but here is what I can tell you. A lot of the changes which are happening in the marketplace, where even the large as well as mid-sized companies are making rapid changes. CIOs today are focused on dynamic sourcing, which is more agile, more innovation-driven. And in certain cases, we have seen the mid-sized customers, the mid-sized providers, at least some of them, being a lot more responsive to the requirements of CIO, making those rapid changes and aligning themselves with the concept of dynamic sourcing. And if they did it well, yes, you see them performing well with their customers, delivering value to the customers, which I think is the most fundamental thing that IT industry has to keep in mind.
And what did you make of all the commentary that has come in going forward? Infosys anyway has hosted analysts sticking to its revenue guidance of 12 to 13% as well, sticking with that as well. But the deal signing, the digital transformation, the pipeline, the commentary that has come in with the earnings season, what does that indicate towards for you?
When I look at some of the recent announcements made by these IT services companies, 2-3 things which I take away from them. Number one, there is a strong demand scenario which is playing out around cloud, AI, ML, overall digital transformation, app modernization, security, and all these service providers are targeting towards these opportunities. Now, when they do this, they are actually having issues around talent. How did they address some of the immediate macroeconomic concerns in markets like North America? And because of that, there might be temporary issues that these providers may face. But when I look at these service providers, I also see them focusing on industry solutions. Say they're focused on things such as citizen services for government, digital payment ecosystem for banks, digital twins for manufacturing. So a lot of these service providers are building out more industry cloud services, digital services. And as they continue to do so, a lot of them would be able to be more relevant for specific industries. So the name of the game for future is You, as a service provider, you have to be serving the specific needs of a particular industry. And as long as they align themselves with this, they will have, they will continue to see mid to long term demand scenario.
Okay, with that, Mr. Mishra, Mr. Desai, thank you so much for being live with us today. IT, we've seen underperform.